So we'll move on to Jack Butland, and an interesting duel here between Butland and Karius. A lot of people are saying that Jack Butland wouldn't be an upgrade on Loris Karius. I will admit it's kind of tight, but I think Jack Butland would be a good buy for Liverpool, and this is why. And again, it's this expected goal stat. As you can see, Jack Butland has been sitting behind an awful Stoke defence this season. He's been sitting behind an awful Stoke defence for probably the last 3-4 years. For the majority of under Mark Hughes, they've had players going forward that have essentially kept them in the division. This season, it hasn't been enough. But as you can see here, I've used the same star system to sort of map where, in comparison to each other, where they are. So obviously, Karius is a year younger, Butland being 25. Don't forget, Karius is going to Butland's going to the World Cup, with England. He's possibly going to play in the Costa Rica game tonight, and possibly even at the World Cup ahead of Pickford. I think Pickford's probably going to get the nod for Southgate, but there's still a possibility there that Butland could be England's number one for this summer in Russia. And as you can see here, the clean sheet percentage, shots faced, save percentage, perhaps not the best stats to be looking at, just purely because, like I say, he's been sat behind an awful defence, and of course he's going to be conceding more goals, of course he's going to be conceding more shots, of course he's going to be conceding more chances, and he's not going to be keeping many clean sheets at all, but in this case, 6 clean sheets out of 36 games isn't necessarily a reflection on just him. In fact, I never think that a clean sheet percentage or clean amount of clean sheets should be an individual award. The Golden Glove should be a team award for me, or the amount of clean sheets, because if you're sitting behind the best defence in the league, like Hugo Lloris or David De Gea is, of course you're going to keep the most clean sheets, because that's what a defence is designed to do. But again, it's the expected goals that we're looking at. So as you can see here, based on the quality of chances that Stoke concede and Jack Butland has faced, 74.32 goals Jack Butland was expected to concede over the course of the season, the average Premier League goalkeeper. However, he only conceded 61. And that's down to him. Nobody else. That's not down to the defence. That is down to the goalkeeper making saves. And you go, okay, there's an argument there. The fact that Karius is essentially, conceding more than he should be. Now, whether that's down to the fact that he's making more mistakes than Butland, probably. I know that Butland's made not ridiculous houses on the scale that Karius made in the final, but I remember him making a mistake against Leicester in the league towards the back end of the season, that essentially gave a goal away. But that's the only one that jumps to the forefront of my mind, and I go, okay, well, maybe he's not going to be £80 million. Maybe he's not going to be up for, best goalkeeper in Europe, whatever. He's not going to be sought after by Barcelona, Real Madrid, but he may just be a more solid option than Karius is. At the end of the day, Karius, since Christmas, since being in the side, has been okay. He's made a fair amount of saves. He's made a few worldy saves. I remember Newcastle and Everton where he's made some good saves. I've seen Jack Butland make a couple of them as well. The point is, we really, at least as a base point, you want to be eradicating the mistakes that Karius makes. And I don't think Butland makes as many mistakes as Karius does. And I think that right there is why we are already getting an improvement in Jack Butland compared to Loris Karius. And he's not going to cost the world. He's probably going to cost 25-30 million, maybe even less. I mean, given the fact that we're potentially about to sign Xherdan Shaqiri for £12 million, if rumours are to be believed, because they've gone down essentially. And you can get all these players for a lot cheaper, because a player like Jack Butland and players like Xherdan Shaqiri are far too good to be knocking about in the Championship and wasting years of their career hoping that they might get promoted with Stoke again. So as you can see, in terms of the distribution again, Karius is winning, and that may be a reason we don't go for Butland, because Klopp can see there's a clear drop off when it comes to the fact that Butland isn't completing as many passes, he isn't making as many passes. But that's what Stoke are famous for. Stoke are famous for booting upfield, and as you can see there's a fine example of that. The fact that Jack Butland has a 46.56 metre average pass, which is ridiculously long. That's almost half a football field. And you go, okay, that's just how Stoke play essentially, especially not so much under Mark Hughes, but that's what they're notorious for. That's just their style. So in a team like Liverpool and in a team like England, you know, he's played a few times for England. He's proven he can do it for England. Gareth Southgate likes to play out from the back. That's what he's trying to do with this three at the back formation and the two wing backs. That's why he's picked the players that he's played. That's why he's picked the players that he's picked at the back, because he knows that the three players he's playing at centre back, which is probably going to be Kyle Walker, John Stones, and Harry Maguire, they're all ball-playing centre-backs. That's what he wants to do. So in a team like England or a team like Liverpool, if we were to sign him, I think he is capable of being able to play out from the back and perhaps matching the sort of stats that Karius is showing here. And at the same time, you're potentially conceding less goals. And he's only going to cost you 25, 30 million, maybe less. And you go, okay, actually, overall, he might be an improvement on Karius because he's making less mistakes, he's making more saves, and most importantly, we'll come back to it again, he's conceding less goals than he's expected to against the quality of chances that he's facing. And that is, even though this stat, you know, I'm talking about it a lot, it's not the be-all and end-all when it comes to football, but it's the best indicator that we have of how good a goalkeeper is at the moment. And for me here, this is enough proof in my head to go, okay, we've just got to, if Klopp was to go for this guy, I can logically see the steps that he's sort of taken to come to that conclusion. I'm sure there's sports scientists and all sorts at Melwood doing their research, doing a lot more, doing this sort of thing, but a lot more in depth because they have to. They're the ones spending the money. They're doing this sort of research, and if they're coming to the same conclusion that, you know, Butland may be able to cut it in this Liverpool side, I would have absolutely no problems in paying that sort of money for Butland, because I actually think it could be quite a good buy for Liverpool.